Okay, can we stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Joe, do we have more than one? Just one person signed up for that? Okay, and then we'll go forward from there. So I'm going to open up public participation. Everyone's familiar with the rules. If not, I'll remind you. Marie Blake. Hi, Marie. Go ahead.
According to the Freedom of Information Commission and the Connecticut State Statutes, there are very clear parameters for entering executive sessions and for protocol during executive sessions. Number one, executive sessions exist for discussion of certain topics. I believe your topic of parental complaints regarding athletics meets this requirement. Number two, only people who have something to add to the discussion should be invited into the executive session. According to minutes, Principal Swenson and Athletic Director Craig Semple, the two administrators closest to the complaint, and the internal investigation were not invited into the executive session. Makes me wonder why. Maybe you, the board, had a predetermined course of action. Number three, only discussions are allowed in executive session. Number four, voting is never permissible in executive session. And I quote, the Freedom of Information Commission has consistently ruled that action beyond discussion, such as a vote, is not permissible in an executive session. After discussions, number five, after discussions in executive sessions, you should make a motion in public to conclude the executive session. Then if a vote is needed as it pertains to the private discussion, you do it in public in front of us. According to your minutes and video, there was no further discussion and no motion was made. You simply adjourned the meeting. So as an observant, concerned citizen, I'm left to assume that you did vote in the executive session against Connecticut state statutes because none of the minutes of this board reflect the decision to hire outside counsel in order to investigate coaches Christie and Giordano. I am disappointed that this board consistently cloaks themselves behind confidentiality and executive sessions. 6 of you here serving on this board tonight also served when the previous chairperson and board voted to hire outside counsel to investigate the former superintendent. I went back and looked at the minutes from January 13th, 2020. Protocol and procedure were followed back in 2020. Motion to enter executive session, motion to exit executive session. Then before the meeting was adjourned, 3 motions were made and voted on in public. The votes were recorded in the minutes. Without a doubt, you broke protocol on July 5th in the special meeting. But why? You all know better. Every election we hear it. I'll represent you. I'll bring transparency to the table, to decisions. Monroe is better than this. I, for one, expect more from the board. Honesty, integrity, transparency. So I'm still curious. Who voted in favor of hiring outside counsel? Who voted against it? And did any of you recuse yourselves? We deserve to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. I just want to make a note for the record. We voted to go into executive session. We had a discussion. That discussion is confidential because it discussed student identifiable information. There was absolutely no vote in executive session. I also know that there is a rumor out there that the superintendent recused himself from the vote because he's close to the football program, and that is an absolute non-truth. That's a lie. The superintendent does not have any votes. We had a discussion in executive session with those people and our board attorney, with us and our board attorney. I called us out of executive session. We came back out, made a motion to adjourn the meeting. There was absolutely no vote in executive session. So I just want to clarify that best as I can right now. Is there anyone else for public participation? Nicole, come on up. Go ahead.
For a second? Because,
You can make it part of your, go ahead.
well, Marie specifically said that there was no vote and that you could have entered it, but that when you guys, at no point is there anything in the meeting minutes saying there was a vote.
Correct, because we didn't vote on anything. We had a discussion in executive session.
So
We came
then
out
the-
of executive
The board
session.
doesn't have to vote to hire outside counsel.
No, because it's part of the policy that I sent you. Without getting into too much more. I can highlight that for you and send it to you.
Sure.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Nicole Conti, 78 Lantern Drive. I participate here tonight, as I have in 2 previous meetings, to represent Steve Christie and Eric Giordano. As the board is exercising its right to remain silent during public participation, I would expect the following questions to be answered at some point by phone or email. Why did the Board of Education not interview these 2 men prior to heading into executive session? When did our Board of Education become judge and jury? This board sent 2 respected members of our community to public judgment without so much as the human decency to hear their responses to a previously addressed parent complaint. A litany of unanswered questions have been asked, policy and procedure being the blanket justification for everything that has transpired. It's an election year for 2 of this board's members. It is my hope that the voters in Monroe remember their names come November, not for their political party, but for my promise that neither of them will hear reason should you stand in front of them when you need these elected officials. Our concern here may not resonate with everyone, or your opinion could even be opposite of mine, but the effect of this on us all is that no one is safe from a board that allows their own interests to prevent them from doing what they'd want someone to do for them. People who sit in places of power here appear either too weak to stand up for what they can clearly see presented to them, or too conflicted by their own biases to treat their fellow man as God intended. We do not have to all agree. Some of us prefer the days of old where kids were not in charge of adults, where teachers and coaches could provide lessons and growth without fear of prosecution and twists into slander, where respect was earned, not given. I sit here each meeting not for myself, not for personal interest. I sit here for Catherine Christie, to honor her and to do what she cannot for her family and what she would do for her husband. We love you, coaches. Helmets stay white until you're on that field with your boys.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public participation? Hey, Brian, go ahead.
Brian Christie. So I don't have anything written down tonight. I just kind of wanted to come up here and just, you guys got to remember, these are human people. These are men. They're real people. They're not monsters. We're fishing for things now at this point, and it's just disgusting. This is the 3rd family dinner I've had to miss over this. For this, to sit at you and stare at you and you all look back, you don't even look up at me. Jesus, I mean, is this serious? This is a joke. Why don't you fucking look at me? It's embarrassing.
Anyone else for public participation? Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to the report of the chairman.
Shame on all of you.
And the only thing I have to say is that I emailed members of the policy committee and the superintendent and assistant superintendent. I have submitted a CABE recommended policy for evaluation of the superintendent. We've talked about it a little bit. We do some of it already. So I've submitted that for the policy committee to put on your agenda whenever you see fit and to take a look at it. That's all I have. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. Any questions on the minutes at all? Okay. Any questions on the warrant for Ron at all? Any questions on the budget transfers? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Dennis, second. Christine, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, unanimous, thank you very much. We're going to go to the report of the committees. We'll start with our students. Hi, go ahead.
Good evening, Monroe Board of Education. I hope you're having a marvelous Monday. Tomorrow, October 3rd, is the Massick Movie Night. Beginning at 7 p.m. on the upper field, students will watch Spider-Man Homecoming. Thank you to the Adam Foundation and the Wingman Program for sponsoring this event. Popcorn, candy, and water will be sold for $1. All proceeds will be donated to the Massick Field Hockey's Stick It to Cancer game.
I feel as if it would be a missed opportunity to not talk about the Massick Girls Field Hockey Stick It to Cancer event. I had the honor last week of covering the event for the Monroe Sun, and through that, I was able to speak personally to Melanie Dubé, who is the mother of the child Remy Dubé, who has cancer. He was diagnosed with leukemia 1 month ago, and he's 2 years old, he has Down syndrome, and it's truly a tragic situation. So I want to take this as an opportunity to shout out the Massick Field Hockey team and say if you guys are free on Wednesday, you guys should go out there and show your support, and the Dubé family could really use the money during this tough time.
Speaking of sports, I've got some sports results from the past 2 weeks. Football won against Bunnell last Friday at home. Boys soccer won against Immaculate, Brookfield, and Notre Dame. Girls soccer won against New Fairfield. Field hockey won against New Fairfield and Joel Barlow. And as Arik said, please show your support on Wednesday. Girls swim won against Stratford and New Fairfield. And girls volleyball won against Colby Cathedral and Immaculate.
Okay, thank you. Christine, policy met tonight?
Yep, policy met tonight. We're going to have 2 policies that will come for first review at our next board meeting.
Okay. Any other committee reports from board members? Okay, we're going to go on to the report of the superintendent. Joe?
You got it. I just, you have in your packs there the enrollment summary. I'm just going to pull it up here. So, twice a year, and actually I think there's a new statute this year where enrollment's going to be captured again in April, but it historically has always been the October 1 enrollment number is the official enrollment number in the beginning of the year, and then the last day of school enrollment number. So I just wanted to kind of go through, this is something we're looking at very closely, especially as we're getting ready to put out our RFP for the facility study, just to kind of the 10,000 foot view. These are all the students that are in our charge at each of our schools, at our community program. You'll see on here state reported outplaced schools. Those are schools like CES or ACES. Outplaced schools could be private placements. And then we also have this, what we call our outplaced transportation school, which is those students that we're still responsible for, but that may go to Fairchild Wheeler, the VOAG schools, or Abbott Tech and whatnot. So just for a little comparison, so here we are right now as of October 1, total students 3,513. You'll see 3,436 in this column. That's total K through 12 in this column. This column does not include our pre-K students there. So just as a little comparison to where we were a year ago, or I'm sorry, to where we were at the end of the year. So looking at the end of the 22-23 year compared to now. So if I could get them all on the screen, that'd be amazing. 3509, so we're about four students more than where we finished last year. Now, again, this is pre-K through 12, so we have 4 students more now than we did when we finished in June. All we're going to do is add students from this point forward, okay, especially in the pre-K program. So you look at where we left off at pre-K last year, 105 students at the end of the year. Right now, our pre-K program, our pre-K program's at 77 students. You see over here, these two things. So this is where students will age in from the birth to 3 program into our pre-K program. So I'm sure we'll see some, we're definitely going to see growth as the year goes on. Just in terms of, and you guys have seen this one before, just in terms of year-over-year comparisons at each building. So what I have here is last October 1st, last day of school last year, and now our October 1st now. And what you'll see is at each grade, the difference from October 1st to October 1st and last day of school to October 1st. So you'll notice we have 6 less kids in the pre-K program than we did at this time last year. But you see, again, where pre-K started on October 1st last year and where it finished, we'll probably see a similar kind of increase this year, somewhere probably in that 100 to 105, 110 range. So from the end of the year to this year, that's where you see the biggest discrepancy here, but that's because we added all those pre-K kids. So Monroe Elementary, from last October 1 to now, is down 2 students, but the big pickups are at the 2 other elementary schools. We are up, in K through 5, we're up 70 students. We're down 2 at Monroe Elementary. We're up 36 and 36 respectively at both Fawn Hollow and Stepney. So if you look at Fawn Hollow, the two biggest classes right now are the 2 big outliers that we weren't totally expecting. Was this incoming kindergarten class where we had to add the 6th section in this 2nd grade class now. That was the COVID kids that came in the year after COVID. We had that bubble. So you look at from October 1 to October 1, we're up 36 kids from last year. From the end of last year to now, we're up 20 kids at Fawn Hollow still. 700 kids total at Fawn Hollow now. From 664 last October 1st to 680 by the end of the year to 700 now. Stepney. Again, pretty significant increase here. We're at 521 total. Again, the bigger places are this kindergarten class. We had to add the 5th section of kindergarten this year at Stepney. But again, 36 kids more than we had at October 1 last year. So those 36, the Fawn Hollow 36, and the -2 at Monroe. We're up 70 kids. This is what we've been talking about. This is what we've been talking about for a few years. All of the concentration is in our elementary schools. That's where we continue to bust at the seams. Jockey Hollow and Massac have stayed pretty stable. Jockey Hollow is down 15 kids from last October 1st, 18 from the end of the year. Massac's up 17 from October 1st, 4 from the end of the year. And this is not a typo, but actually, believe it or not, we have the exact same amount of kids right now than we did on the last day of school last year. Again, that number is only going to go up now with pre-K. So that 3455 will continue to increase from there. Any questions on enrollment?
What about space for pre-K? How's that?
It's the one spot, I would credit Jen and Marissa. It is the one spot where they've kind of reconfigured the model of pre-K. We do have, where we're going with an AM and a PM program right now, we do have some space to grow there. So when we switch the model from last year to this year, our afternoon pre-K classes have space in there for them.
Yep,
Is that fair?
Yep. We have 5 classes, and like Joe said, those afternoon programs, they do definitely have space. They're much smaller than they were. So we are actually in good shape, ready to take more kids in due to those changes that we made in the programming.
Things we're going to have to look for, things that, I know the elementary principals and Jen and Marissa and all of us really are really keeping an eye on is the new kindergarten start age. That could either impact kindergarten or pre-K, one or the other. We're keeping an eye on that. Starting to talk to other districts to see what they're doing. Just as a refresher, it's always been kindergarten was January 1st cutoff. It's been moved to September 1st with kind of like this ambiguous assessment that the state said, or you can take an assessment. We've talked to some districts in the area that for the first year next year are just going to say, hey, listen, if you want to send your kid, you can send your kid, but this is what you should expect in kindergarten as people transition, because right now people are trying to line up daycares already. And so, you're in a tough spot if you got an October baby and you're figuring out, wait, are they going to kindergarten or are they going to preschool? So we continue to work on that. Any other questions on this?
Well, just more of a comment. With the proposal of the 100+ homes on Turkey Roost Road, which would directly impact Fawn Hollow currently as it's districted, not that it's right around the corner, but it'd be fair to say if it does get approved that within 3 to 5 years you would be putting houses there. Have we thought about how that would impact our student population, specifically at Fawn Hollow?
I thought you said it was just a statement. Yeah, I think that's got to be part of the conversation with the facility study, because there's no way Fawn Hollow is packed to the gills. And we get more kids into Nell's class, I don't know. But, yeah, it is at 700 kids. I mean, I think we'd have to be looking at, some other configurations and, we've made, I'm not saying publicly that this is coming online, but, we've made Chalk Hill a part of that conversation with the facility study, and if we had to look at reconfiguring grades again and doing something similar to what we did years ago, then, we might have to do that.
Is there a space issue currently at Fawn Hollow and Stepney with the addition of those?
They're tight. They're really tight. I mean, there is not much give there. We have a lot of teachers, not classroom teachers, obviously, but some of our special education teachers and speech and language pathologists that share space. That, we might have 2 or 3. I think 3 was the most. I don't think we've had 4 in any one particular classroom. And they've got the classrooms kind of sectioned off with dividers, but it's not ideal by any stretch.
Jeff, the other thing is in the past, Christine's been helpful with this. We've done some redistricting, like on border streets, but for just new move-ins. So we're gonna have to reconsider that too, because we certainly don't want to move families or break up families, but that's gonna have to be part of it.
Yeah,
I know we did that with Monroe
we did that
last
for
year.
Monroe.
Yeah.
Did that help? Did you pull any data? It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was tough. Yeah.
Still have that room in the inn.
Yeah.
You're still offering parents to, telling parents that they can send their kids to Monroe.
Yeah, and there is room at Monroe. There's not a lot though, because they only have they have way fewer sections. So 6 kids going into Fawn Hollow in kindergarten is 1 per class, where at Monroe it's 2 per class because they have fewer sections. We have done that where it has benefited us. If people wanted to go into one of those schools, we've allowed that.
We didn't have too many takers on that, but it was in a letter that went out.
Yeah, and they have to provide their own transportation if they're gonna do that. So for some people it works because the hours are a little bit different at Monroe. It doesn't run at the same time as Fawn Hollow and Stepney, but that also provides some issues as well because you have 3 elementary schools on different schedules. Jerry?
Joe, I remember when we built Jockey Hollow, there was an ideal enrollment. There was an enrollment number. Do we have that number for Fawn Hollow? I mean, are we at the breaking point?
I think we're just about there. I mean, I can't imagine.
No, I don't know if there was a number print. Like I said, I know when we built Jockey Hollow, it was like it could hold X amount and that was it.
Yeah. I could look back and see. I could talk to Danny Krovsic too and see if he has that.
Is there anything you could do with Jockey Hollow? Like, is there any space there to move, I don't know, some preschool, part of the preschool program?
And one of the things we looked at this year was moving part of the preschool out of Stepney. But that was going to be a logistical nightmare with related services. And now we're starting to split people and now they're traveling. I mean, one of the things we really have to, I think as a board and as a district look at is how many people we have traveling, because it's highly inefficient and it's very difficult because they have contractual times that they have to work. So one day they might start on an elementary school schedule and one day they might start on a high school schedule. But if they start on a high school schedule, they can't finish on the elementary schedule. So that's been a challenge, and that really presented itself, especially because Monroe, Stepney and Fawn Hollow are on a different schedule than Monroe.
And I think the other thing with Jockey Hollow too, pre-K can only be on the first floor, yes?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jockey Hollow first floor, there's not many rooms.
No.
Right.
No.
There's not many at
Yeah.
all.
And bathrooms, like there's a lot that goes into it.
Retrofitting all the bathrooms.
Yep,
Yeah.
which is why.
Yeah.
Since you brought up the facility study, do you have any update on kind of where we sit with that?
That's ready to, I have it, it's with legal, Ron Sheila and I, because we got approved last week from the board, a week ago Thursday, from the Board of Finance. So we had legal kind of review it. We have one more review. I might send it to actually, you two guys wanted to be on the thing, so I'll send you the copy before it's ready to go.
Oh, I want to be on that committee too.
Yeah, everybody wants to be on it.
We all want to be on
on
it.
that committee.
Right now, we want to get the RFP out.
Yeah.
Right.
and get
Well, we were talking
the
about this,
study
and we were talking about the
done. Committee
selection.
after that.
Yeah, this is the selection committee
Yeah.
to go through
Yeah.
that.
We just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be plenty of work to do once we select the firm. So. Any questions? Okay. I think the only other thing I had, it's in, I get nauseous thinking about it. I can't believe it because we're just starting to go into our this year's budget, but in your packets you have the budget timeline there. You don't have to give it to me now, but if you want to start thinking about, I think one of the things that's been really successful in the past few years was the Board of Education liaisons to each of the different departments. So we have our meeting on Thursday with the principals, and we're going to kind of kick off our budget work then. I will probably start meeting with the principals and the directors, Ron, Sheila, myself. We'll start meeting with the directors towards the end of October, beginning of November, to get all of their submissions in. One of the things that's been nice in the past couple of years is our budget process has gotten pushed back a little bit, where it used to be the first week in April. Now it's the first week in May. So you see when the executive summary will be sent out or presented on December 18th, and you folks will have a chance to meet with each of the different directors between the 4th and the 15th of December. So the timeline's there for everybody. Once it leaves our hands, everything becomes pretty statutory there after that. So, like I said, just start thinking about what you might want to do in terms of, if you want to do a different area this year, or if you want to stick with the same area. Dennis?
Just a suggestion or a thought. Yeah. Since we've done this a couple of years where board members have met with certain schools, what if you have records of who those are? Can we just agree to mix it up?
Sure.
So we're hitting someplace else, someplace new, instead of going to the same schools?
Okay.
Yeah,
This
I think
way
we
it
should
gets
mix it
new
up.
thought process.
You get more of an overall view of everything. Yeah.
Right.
Yep, it's great.
Thanks.
Okay. Jen, you want to come up and give the special education update?
Not Jen.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to start with our enrollment. So in the month of September, we had 5 new students who moved into the district. 2 of these students meet the threshold for high cost. We had 1 student that was dismissed from services, and we have 5 students that were made eligible. So that brings us to a total of 576 today. So that's our total number. So when looking at financials, there's lots to talk about. So my team spent the month of September encumbering all known expenses, and you can see that in our tuition public line, we have gone over our budget allocation, the amount of $219,000. Similarly, our tuition private line has been overspent by approximately $32,000. The reasons for these overages directly reflect changes to the student programming, the 5 high-cost students who enrolled into the district after November 1st of last year, and the 2 new students who enrolled this year, none of which were budgeted for. These students have extensive programming, which includes related services, private transportation, and some have nursing care as well. And this makes a great impact on our spending. So in addition, we had 2 students who will receive an additional year of programming due to the extension of eligibility through the end of the school year in which they turn 22. Okay. So just as we have outplaced students, we also have brought students back to our district in grades K through 12. Similarly, we had 2 students who returned to us in our community program that were previously outplaced. So those savings in public and private tuition have offset overall encumbrances to date. When we bring back students to district, our savings is not dollar to dollar. So oftentimes, students need support in districts such as a paraeducator or a behavior tech, as well as related services. So all of our invoices and POs for extended school year services have been paid and closed, and our ESY tuition public line was overspent by $19,000. As did the ESY budget lines, our transportation for ESY was overspent in the amount of $9,000. These expenses directly correlate to the public and private transportation lines that I just discussed above. Our professional education services line was also overspent by $6,400. This line supports our outplaced students who have medical needs that necessitate a one-to-one nurse. So we'll continue to monitor the overall budget, but we're acutely aware of the funds spent in the lines that I talked about above. As a reminder, we added 115 identified students to our overall special ed population last year. Only 25 of the students graduated, leaving us with 90 extra students that we are supporting currently through this budget. Also important to note is that we have allocated $575,000 for excess costs this year. We receive our first RIO disbursement in January, which will offset our current spending. The amount budgeted was based on the assumption we will receive 70% of funds spent. However, last year we received 85% because there was extra money at the state level. There is a possibility we may receive more than the 70% this year, but until we have verification on that, we really need to anticipate that we're going to receive around $575,000. So I am in the process of building our budget for next year, and as I do, so our 576 students' needs as well as staff needs will be considered. But I just want to remind everyone that we build the budget based on the students that we have at this time. So that's where we are right now. Questions?
Thank you, Jen. Yeah, we'll continue to watch that, and
Yes,
we'll,
very closely.
we'll keep Board of Finance updated on that. So, and we understand.
Jen and I already talked about coming to the next Board of Finance meeting.
Yeah.
Accompanying me to the next Board of Finance meeting, so
Yep.
we'll keep them in the loop on that.
Yep. Yep.
Questions?
They have been great about they've been great about providing that backstop
Yeah.
for us, and if we need it,
Yep.
we need it.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
thanks, Jen.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Keep up the good
Last
work.
thing for me was just calendar committee. It's I think we meet in January. If anyone wants to volunteer again to be on that, it's usually a pretty light lift. We meet with all the union presidents. So anyone wants to do that, if you just want to shoot me an email or let me know now, whatever.
I'll do it again.
You want to do it again, Dennis? Thank you.
Seemed to work out last year.
Thank you. And if anyone else wants to do it, just let me know. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Joe. We're going to move on to unfinished business, and we have a second review of 3 policies. Christine, do you have those?
I do.
Okay,
So
give
these
us
are
a reminder.
Yep, so these are the 3 policies that we talked about at the last meeting under review. One was the parent involvement, which was our current Monroe policy with edits, where we just included where if we went into remote learning, we have to offer a virtual conference. The second is about substitute teachers. It's current Monroe policy with edits. That just goes back to the pre-COVID where you needed a certain degree, bachelor's degree, in order to substitute, where during COVID they had some leniency. And then the third one is the metal detectors, wands, with the administrative staff at Massive. So those are our 3 that we are voting on tonight.
Just a little pre-discussion. I did, Shannon couldn't make it tonight, but I did discuss her concerns with her, and we spoke back and forth. Too bad she couldn't be here tonight, but we did have a conversation about it to clarify that a lot of the questions are spelled out in the policy. So I just wanted to update the board on that. I think the first 2 was pretty much CAVE language.
The first 2 are CAVE language,
Yeah,
just
and-
a couple minor edits.
Yep, and then with the metal detectors, the wands are purchased, and I think we need to give our administrators the tools that they need, so. Can I have a motion to approve? Oh, sorry.
I think, I'd like a motion to approve the first 2, and I'd like some discussion on the third one, right? Because I don't know it's clarified enough that we're doing students only, not doing the general public with the wands in the policy.
Okay,
That's
so
been changed.
Dennis is making a motion to approve policy 1110.1, parent involvement, and policy 4121, substitute teachers. Is there a second on that? Jeff, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you very much. Dennis, go ahead. You
I
want
think the way the policy was written before, and I haven't, I'm sorry, perfect. I just want to make sure it's student only, right? We do have state laws and federal laws that they don't smoke on grounds anyhow, so.
The first sentence talks about it, use of handheld metal detectors to check a student's person or
Student's
personal
person,
effects.
that's it, that's what we want a clarification on, and that's been done.
And it's just administrators.
Right, perfect.
Yeah, it says students throughout it.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
And
Just clarifying.
And there's also a line here that says the district shall develop regulations for the implementation of this policy. And I believe our administrators understand that, what our intent is on this. We want to give them the tools for that, and if there's a need to expand that in the future, then they can come back to us.
No, I think the policy is clear. I think for the general public, they need to know it's illegal to have it on property. So it's like, it's reinforcing the fact that we get to deal with it. It's against the state law, so.
Yeah, our policy on school grounds is, we're a tobacco-free campus, but it's illegal for a minor to be in possession of tobacco-free, and yeah, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that?
No, with that stipulated, can we move to approve?
Okay, so I have a motion by Dennis to approve policy 5145.123, use of metal detectors. Can I have a second? Alan, any discussion? Hearing, go ahead, Jeff.
I would just like to add, I just want to make sure that the failure to allow or permit someone being, you know, detected, wanted, whatever you want to call it, is similar to the policy we have when, you know, there's suspicion or there is a search, right? So, you know, I'm good with it as long as those two things are in alignment.
It would be the exact same parameters. This is a search.
Right. Yeah.
Just like a,
Can't be
our
joined.
searches are searches, and just like our breathalyzers are searches. Yeah, it would be the exact same.
And
We
the
talked about
failure
language.
to comply with it would be the same as well.
Yes.
Be grounds for discipline in the
Yes.
same manner that the principal, would use for anything else. Do we have one at STEM, or is it just here?
Right now, we just have them here. Steve, I think you have two of them here.
Two of them, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to need a rose for us to meet them at another school. We can get them there.
Everybody okay with that? Any further discussion? I got a second on that from Alan, right? Okay, no further discussion. All in favor? Aye, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. We're going to move forward to new business. Joe, we have a field trip coming up?
We do, and this is actually pretty exciting because last year, I'm going to introduce Monica Gagnon once again to everybody. Monica's going to talk about a trip to Italy. Last year, Monica was here presenting a trip to Canada with Iga Lashinsky, and this year, we kind of dipped our toes last year into doing foreign travel once again by going to Canada. Monica has an opportunity to take students to Italy. This trip is actually being planned for next April break, not this April break coming up. So the dates aren't firm yet because our calendar committee would need to meet and come up with April break next year, but we have flexibility with that. But Monica's done some legwork. There's also a discount and the reason for bringing it this week is to bring it this week for first review, second review at the next meeting, and hopefully for approval because there's a discount available if we commit before October 31st.
Right.
So Monica's going to just kind of walk us through the itinerary really quickly.
Thank you, Superintendent Kapsa. Hi, everyone. Monica Gagnon. I've been an art teacher in this district for over 24 years. Started at Monroe, moved up to the high school about 15 years ago. Last year we traveled to Canada, so I thought, well, let's just expand our destination. So Italy 2025. Now this is spring break of 2025. The date that you see will be updated when we have the approved calendar in January. So I was assured by the company that we're gonna use, and we are using passports, that date will be updated. So the tour will involve 3 landmark cities: Venice, Florence, and Rome. Each city about 2 days, and then obviously we'll allow about 2 days for travel. And once again, that date that you see will be updated when we know the actual dates for the spring of 2025. Why 2025? I thought just to give everyone a little bit more time to budget for the trip. Obviously, all these prices are affected. Traveling is not as cheap as it used to be. Still, Superintendent Cobbs and I thought that this is a fair cost for the trip, and I'll introduce that in a moment. Okay, so this is, as requested, certificate of liability insurance. This is of the company that we are using, of the passports. I was reassured once again that this will be updated. They update it every year. So this is for this year. next year will be approved, and I will definitely supply the board with that. Why passports? I have traveled with different companies, very successful travel, but I thought this company had a couple more perks. When it comes to carrying the tips, especially, we used to have to carry large sums of money to pay for our 24-hour tour guide that will be with us the entire tour, and then all the city guides. So every day we'll probably have 1 or 2 city guides, which they would have had to be paid in cash on the spot. So carrying the cash, I don't know, not so much, not appealing to me. And then they also offer another insurance program, and I'll talk about it in a moment. So another thing was that my good friend, he's a teacher in Chicago, have traveled with them, with this company for more than 10 years, always successful, very happy with how everything was dealt with throughout the tours. So that's why my choice with this particular company. Okay. Objectives, obviously, kind of following through with the programs, the company objectives, really same as our objectives here at MASIC, acquiring global skills for our students, kind of broadening their perspectives, gaining confidence in the new and different cultures, kind of giving them that opportunity, promoting global awareness, language obviously involved in that, although we don't teach Italian per se, but Duolingo app is always great, and to start a new one, always a good thing. And definitely something dear to my heart. I've been teaching art for so many years, and traveling to Italy, it's definitely, the rich artifacts and being surrounded by so many historical and art-related museums, really going through the streets. It's always something that I favor, and I would love for the students to be able to do that as well. So let's start with itinerary. So moving from arriving in Venice, spending 2 days in Venice, we have planned walking city tours, as well as in Venice we will have a glass blowing demonstrations. They'll be part of that, and then definitely taking the Grand Canal boat ride, which is always the highlight of the trip. Both transportations this time through using high-speed train from Venice to Florence, and then from Florence to Rome. So arriving in Florence, we have an opportunity to stop at actually right after Florence in Pisa. So that's another perk. In Florence, we have a great kind of activity for the kids, visiting the Leonardo's leather workshop, obviously the walking tour, visiting Duomo. There's a couple of churches that are architecturally extremely pretty, Santa Croce and then the Pazzi Chapel. So, kind of great stops along the way. And then, as I said, we have excursion to Pisa on the way to Rome. And then we arrive in Rome. We have a walking tour. We have a visit to the Colosseum, visit to the Forum Romanum. We also will be using the public transportation in Rome. We are going to have obviously the local guide. We're going to visit the Pantheon. We're going to stroll through Piazza Navona. The second day will be devoted to the Vatican museums, the Sistine Chapel, and then St. Peter's Basilica. finishing that day, the day 7, with dinner, with entertainment right across from the Coliseum. So it's literally a walking distance from the Coliseum in the underground restaurant that Le Terme de Coliseo. And I've been told that the entertainment, the singing is just something to experience on your own. Let's just put it this way. So departure on their day 8. What's included in the tour overall? Obviously, all the airline tickets, the public transportation, all the accommodations, most of the time 3 to 4 stars hotel, and it's based on a triple. There is an opportunity for double rooms with the extra cost. I want to say it's $240 per person if they want to be accommodated in double rooms. And that will be done prior to the tour if they want to do that. All breakfasts are included, all dinners are included, including the dinner with entertainment on day 7. Lunch is on their own, and it's really just an opportunity for the kids to kind of immerse themselves into, the culinary aspects of Italy, trying something on their own, because other than that, everything will be pre-planned, right? All dinners will be pre-planned for them as well as breakfast. They can always grab something from breakfast if they want for snack later on, but they will have about probably an hour of, we call it free time, but free time means that they are not leaving the limits of the few blocks, whatever is decided by the tour guide. So no public transportation for them during their free time. Public transportation only with the group and our 24-hour tour guide. So going back to the perks, right? And as I said, that the travel insurance was something that this particular company highlighted, and it's the ultimate peace of mind. And looking at these protection plans, Superintendent Cobbs and I decided to include that plan, the ultimate peace of mind, in the travel cost. So what it gives us is 100% refund, as stated by the company, 100% refund, and they can cancel at any time. The plan itself costs $449. So what you see on the cost of the trip, the $4,047, that's included. That $449 cost of that program is included in this. And we felt strongly with Superintendent Kabza that was something to benefit to all the travelers.
The last thing we want to do is get into a situation where, this came up years ago when we had the Iceland trip and it had to get canceled. Fortunately, they were able to do something different. But we never want to, the world has changed. We've had, issues in Madrid. We've had some, international things happen. And if we had to, cancel this at the last minute, we want our students and families to be as protected as they can be.
Right.
And so this accounts for any changes that we may have to make, which, we hate to have to do that. But also, if a family runs into a situation, they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It also gives families, to start saving now for next April. On a monthly basis, that's a, pretty
right.
manageable. If they want to do that, they can do that, or they can pay a deposit and they just have to have it paid. I think
Right.
like 90 days.
So that's, yeah.
Can you go back a slide? 2 slides now? Because I thought it was 75% back if they cancel.
So,
peace of mind.
No,
Cancel for any reason.
For cancellation, any reason. So this one is a peace of mind. So in addition, they offer ultimate peace of mind.
Okay.
And I can actually include that. So that will be 100% return.
Okay, thank you.
And cancellation at any time for any reason. And then obviously payment methods, very easy. There is the mentioned $200 a month, right, for if they choose to. 30-day kind of final payment deadline, or if they decide on doing a full payment, then they pay a deposit of $495 and then 110-day final payment deadline. So 2 easy, very convenient payment methods. So that's what I have, and thank you so much for your time.
Besides volunteering the chaperone, does anyone have any
Yeah,
questions?
there's a limit to how many board members we go?
Be careful, on
8.
chaperone, it's a lot of work.
Yes, it's, yeah, there's definitely not much sleeping during the trip.
Yeah.
Any questions? No? We'll discuss it next meeting. This way it gives time for everybody to think about it, and if there's any comments from the public.
The decision has to be
parents.
made next meeting, that's what I heard.
Right, so the extension on that extra discount that I got from them is by enrollment by October 31st. So
It has to be done next week.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so that's additional $300 per person.
We'll get you in on time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica.
There's nothing in our policy that says with trips we have to do a second review. We just do it as a matter of practice to allow parents to, put in any input or anything like that. So it's more of a practice than a policy, like policies. That's a must. Okay, moving on. New business number B, approval of the Monroe Association of School Administrators contract. Vote anticipated. Can I have a motion to approve the contract between the Monroe Board of Education and the Monroe Association of School Administrators from July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2027, as discussed earlier? Christine, seconded by Dennis. Any discussion?
I just want to thank Dave, I want to thank
Good
you
job.
for participating in that with us, and Sheila and Ron for all their work, and thanks to Lisa Peterson and Kevin Welch, who were on the negotiation team for the administrators. So it was a productive and good experience.
Yep. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye, it is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second? Motion to adjourn by Jerry. Can I have a second? Jeff? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye, unanimous. Good night, everybody.